podcast I saw yesterday. And the podcast was talking about how to be motivated, stay motivated in a life that doesn't go our way. And what's more, uh, you know, unmotivating than the choir of crickets that we hear for the longest time on Substack. And I wanted to share what I saw in that podcast, and I'll share the link in the meantime chat to the full podcast. It's Maya Bialik's breakdown. She had a podcast episode inviting a neuroscientist that had found a place in the brain that basically deals with disappointment. And when the brain registers disappointment, it gets unmotivated. And that really messes us up. It's why those to-do lists that never end are totally demotivating instead of making us focus. Anyways, it's an hour-long interview, and I'm not going to speak an hour here. I'm just waiting for the rain to end from the tree. So when Chichi decides you can walk, then I'll end it. But I wanted to share with you the main thing that this podcast said in terms of how to keep on going, keep our motivation up when things don't go our way, or where there's crickets and we're writing and we're producing a lot of beautiful content and nobody seems to be on the other side. And the way the main thing that she says is to adopt an iterative mindset. And what does that mean? And I feel like when I was listening to that, it really triggered a lot of connections to how I run my business, how I run my life, and why I'm always like up to doing a lot of different things. Whilst others are like, Noemi, I have no clue how you have 2 publications and a business and 2 kids and a newborn and a dog, and how do you make it all happen? And I think it's linked to this. So the iterative mindset is about adopting a different approach to failure, or adopting a different approach to your projects in life, which means you're taking everything as a little experiment from which you learn something and you tweak. This applies to you finding a way that works for you to lose weight. This applies to you finding a way to be on Substack without burning out. This applies to anything that requires you to have some motivation to do it. So things that are not necessarily intrinsically pleasurable, but they're useful. They're how you build your business, how you promote yourself, how you advance in your career, and so on and so forth. So iterative mindset means we treat goals not as something super fixed, but as the current experiment, the current thing that we're doing in order to get to the next step. If we don't achieve what we set out to achieve, well, that's mostly all that happens, right? Because a lot of stars would have to align for the thing we set out to do to turn out exactly perfectly the way you set your goals or you imagined it would go. Life is much too complicated and beautiful for that to happen. Basically, yeah, our best laid out plans turn out totally differently. So having this iterative mindset basically means that you don't feel like you failed because something didn't turn out exactly like you hoped it would, but you're learning. This has worked out in this way, but this part didn't really go that well. Iterative mindsets are what help you become an awesome podcaster because you show up when it's cringe and you learn and you tweak and you do another live or another podcast, whatever you're doing, until it becomes really good and people cannot wait for your new episode, for your new podcast, and so on. Iterative mindsets means you're learning new skills and you're not afraid to fail because you're just trying things out. you don't attach kind of mm, your self-worth and confidence and everything to that exact experiment, but more towards the fact that you have the confidence you're going to get to your goal because you're iterating, you're learning, and you're putting all your efforts into it. That has helped me in my career, in my creative career, in all aspects of my life. And it has been such a lifesaver when things didn't go my way, because they never really do. For example, I wanted to work in human rights, and I work in privacy, which is a human right. So in that sense, sure, I got it right. But I wanted to work at the UN in New York City, and all I managed to do is an unpaid internship there, which I guess you could call count as a win. But if you're really rigid with your goals, you might say nope, failure, not good enough, and basically get discouraged by every bump in the road, every challenge. I've made so many twists and turns. I say that I'm the queen of the pivot, but that's basically the iterative mindset, that you do something, you try it for a while, then you draw some conclusions for them, what works, what doesn't work, and then you do it again, but a little better, hopefully, or you learn new things. And that's how you go through life, and that's how you go through Substack in a way that's still motivating when there's crickets or people that unsubscribe when you push publish. Oh my god, how that hurts. And it's not about them, but it's about you learning something and sharing your talent, your skills to the world. Yep, that's all I want to say. It's still raining. Gigi is still not wanting to walk. This is another wonderful episode of me going live from my dog walks, or dog's stands in this case. Gigi, Gigi, can we go? Can we go? I have a rain jacket, but he doesn't, so fair enough. We wait here. If you guys have questions, do let me know. Or tell me how you mm, overcame the cricket choir, how you show up when nobody seems to care. Or maybe it's just your mom, dad, and BFFs that show up for your lives, read your articles, comment, subscribe. I do think the iterative mindset is the backbone of how you get to do a lot of things, learn from it, and really reach goals that you never would have imagined in your life, because you take it step by step and you don't attach too much of self-worth to the specific goal you set for yourself in that moment. The other thing is doing things that are so aligned with what you're talented at, what you love doing. Because I could write about AI, right? And have many more subscribers than I do writing about creating a portfolio career and becoming a digital creator to diversify your career portfolio and your income, with Substack as the kind of cornerstone platform to start in. I could have, if I were just to go for numbers, income, amount of subscribers, I would have found a way to write about how AI helped me build my business, or blah, blah, blah. I would have to start using AI a lot, and I would have to veer a lot from what I'm interested in and what I love writing and talking and doing to do that. And that would be really difficult and would lead to burnout, because I'm not aligned with my values. I'm not doing something that I'm interested in. So I have to push. I have to work a lot with kind of pushing against my confidence, and with the crickets on the other side, much more likely to stop, much more likely to give up halfway because nobody's watching. But if I'm doing something that I really love, then you continue. You do it for much longer. You do it because you enjoy it and you know it's helpful. And maybe the world hasn't caught up with you and understands the beauty and the usefulness in the things you share, but they will. And in the meantime, you're building proof, you're doing things you love, you're maximizing your time under a rainy tree, or whatever you have to do to have a life that you really enjoy being part of, where you take the lead in your own story and you decide what you want to do and take steps, iterative steps towards that future that you want. And I know it sounds super abstract and at the same time difficult to achieve, but when you have this kind of experimental attitude to life, it really changes everything. It turns it into a fun game more than, this is make or break. I need to succeed. If not, whatever. All those types of attitudes, they might work short term, but they will burn you out and they will not create a life where that you dream of having, where where you enjoy your work, where you enjoy your free time, where you have income coming in from different parts, and it's easy for you because even though you might work the same hours or even more, you enjoy it so much, you get into the flow because it's things you love. I'm not gonna ramble on for much longer. I'm gonna end here. Thank you, Claire and Carolina and Valentina and Cat Rainbows and Tani and Jazz Jill and again Jazz Jill for joining me. I hope it was inspiring to you to hear these words. I'm not sure if I'm gonna share this as a recording. We'll think about it. I'll just press end. Thank you for joining. This is Rainy Copenhagen. Dispatch from Rainy Copenhagen. We're here under a very fluffy tree trying to stay dry while the thunderstorm um, continues. And hopefully I'll be out of here in a while because I have a lunch date with my husband. It's my 7-year anniversary, wedding anniversary, and he's the first gift of the day is walking the dog in the rain. Why not? Yeah. Thanks again, and I'll see you at a new live, probably from walking my dog. Because that's when I have the free time with kids and all kinds of things happening. It's a bit tough. Have an amazing day and see you guys soon. Bye.